Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to episode 75 of Talking Asperger's with Andrew. My name is Andrew Marsh, and I'm autistic. I have Asperger's syndrome, and that was something that I didn't know until I was 51, which is 8 years ago. But I've always known I was different. And it was that not fitting in, that being different, that singled me out and gave me some interesting life experiences, shall we say. Used to be a geologist in the construction industry, and now I use that experience that I had in business to work with employees to help them better manage people like me, autistic people, people with Asperger's syndrome, in their businesses. I have a 7-step program that I go through with them, and it's simple, easy to use, very cost effective. It's almost low cost to help them better manage people and how to get the best from them. Because as we work our way through we're now in the third decade of the 21st century. We need to do better than what we used to do in the 80s and 90s. So that's what I do. And I use my personal experiences and techniques that I found that work for me and work for other people to help employers do better with people who are autistic or have Asperger's syndrome. So today's topic it's an interesting one. It's got a long title. It's got the longest title of any of the topics so far. It's There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. There's nothing to fix. What do I mean by that? Well, if you look at all the clinical definitions of Asperger's syndrome, you will find some horrific language that is just awful. It talks about the word disorder. One of them that I've come across used the word disorder twice in 30 words. So, a bit too much there, I think. You have a condition. Your brain is wired differently and it reacts to different stimuli in a different way, and you see the world around you in a different way. I see the world differently to most other people. And I find this out when I'm out with my wife and we're doing something, and I'll see something and I'll say something, ooh, where'd you come up with that from? And that's me realizing that she sees some things in a certain way and I see things in a different way. And it's that exploration of the differences which has helped me get to where I am by understanding what my skills are, what my strengths are, what my challenges are, where I need to work, what I need to work on, how I can help myself, but how I can help other people who have Asperger's syndrome, and how I can help them in the workplace, how I can help employers in the workplace. Because people with Asperger's syndrome can be incredibly talented at a number of fields. They could be brilliant at numbers, looking for patterns in numbers. So they could be brilliant at computer technology, computer software, computer hardware, computer applications, and they can be absolutely brilliant. There's a company called Auticon, who are an IT service provider. They provide IT specialists to businesses, to third-party businesses, and provide IT support to them. Every single one of those computer specialists in Auticon has autism or Asperger's syndrome because they go out and look for them. Because certain people on the spectrum are so good at doing coding and software and all that clever Intel stuff inside your computer that they are brilliant for it. They're ideal for it. And what Auticon do is they support those people with the right management, with the right structure, so that they can do the thing that they're great at, which is fixing people's computers, sorting out their IT, setting things up, and giving it back to the client. Say, there you are, Mr. Client. It now works for you. Off you go. Any trouble, give us a call. So they get supported in the proper way, and it's so important. So important in whatever you do for anyone, whether that's the 5-year-old child that you're helping to learn how to ride a bike, and you've just taken the stabilizers off, to having someone who's gifted but just might need some support. They might not be very good with people. Guilty. I struggle being around people and working with people. But if you support people in the right way, they can be brilliant at what they do. There's an article I read last year, and it's got 3 aspects to the key conclusion to this article, and I like it. And I'm going to say it and then break it down. It says, properly supported and in the right environment, people with Asperger's syndrome can be up to 140% more efficient than their neurotypical colleagues. Now, the back end of that is important, but the front end of it is more important. Properly supported in the right environment. Now, I'm saying to you, if you're an employer or if you're a manager or you have people working underneath you, why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you properly support anyone? Doesn't matter whether they're autistic, whether they're neurodivergent, whether they've got dyslexia, dyspraxia, dyscalculia, whatever it is. Your job as an employer, as a manager, as a leader is to get the best out of every one of your team. So you properly support them in the right environment. And guess what? They're going to be more efficient. Well, yeah, duh moment. If you've got someone who is struggling because the computers don't work, the printer is miles away down a corridor, and the software keeps breaking down, yeah, you're absolutely not going to get the best out of them. Their productivity is going to bottom. It's going to plummet because you're not supporting them. You're not giving them the tools to do their job. And this is where, going back to what I said at the beginning, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. There's nothing to fix. Sure, I agree, and will quite happily point out, and I will agree that you might need some additional support in certain areas. But when I was working as a geologist, if I'd have had a modicum more of support from the people that I was working for, I could have done better. I know that. And I tried to do better. But bam, hitting up against a wall with people who weren't interested in supporting you. They just wanted you to do something. I don't care, do it. I've had that said to me, and I've heard that said to other people from the same person. I don't care, just do it. Where's the incentive to do good work when you have an attitude from a manager who is just comes out with stuff like that? So, yes, we're different. Yes, we have our quirks. We had our idiosyncrasies. We have our, quirky moment from Andrew over there. But supporting them well, giving them the freedom to express themselves with the skills that they have could just be the missing piece of the puzzle that could take your business from here to here to here over the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. And if you support people who are free thinkers, who can think out the box, the very nature of their being, because they are autistic, because they have Asperger's syndrome, means they see the world in a different way. Guess what? They might come up with new ideas, new products, new services, new piece of software, new macro on the spreadsheet, a brilliant new concept that could take your company forward. I'm going to give you the very short story of the iPhone. Can you imagine, when was it, 2006? Or was it 1996? Whenever it was, when we had little phones that we could phone people with. We could send a text message, and if you're really lucky, you could send one photograph. One photograph. Apple looked at this and saw that we had the power of computers, which is on this device that I'm talking to you now, and it was getting smaller and smaller as the technology got better and better. And they went, someone in Apple went, let's combine the two. Let's combine the power of that computer with a telephone, with a handheld device, not just a telephone, a handheld device. And at a moment in time, when the iPhone came out, they changed how we communicate with each other around the world. They made an awful lot of money. They're selling millions of these phones still, all of the time, every year. Because someone thought, what if we combine this with that? What if we do this differently? What if we look at it in this way? What if we challenge what we know? What do we know, and what doesn't work? And that person who is autistic, that person who has Asperger's, maybe the person who's sitting there going, scribble something down and go, we should do it like this. How about if we do it like this? We could fix that problem. And it may be a problem that you've had with your business for 3 years. And that autistic person, that person with Asperger syndrome, can fix it because they think differently. I see things in my head. I'm a very visual person, so I see things. So I'm always looking into the distance, looking up, going, what if we connected this with that, with that? How do we do that? Because I'm thinking, I'm trying to join the dots. Other people on the spectrum are brilliant at doing that. And when you consider some of the people who we have believed to have been autistic or had Asperger syndrome over history, think what they did for us. Now, we can't be sure. You know, there weren't doctors around. We didn't know what Asperger syndrome was when Leonardo da Vinci was around. But you read his autobiography, you read his biography, and you look at his inventions, you look at his techniques, and you look at what he did. Yeah, there was something special about that man, Leonardo da Vinci. If you get a chance to read a biography of him, please do. Enlightening. Alan Turing, the brilliant mathematician from Bletchley Park, who cracked the Enigma code machines from German High Command in World War II. He was believed to have Asperger's syndrome. Other people throughout history, but they don't always have to be super genius. They just could be someone who fits in with what you're doing, with how you're doing your business. Go, oh, what if we did that? I could do a spreadsheet for that, and we could fix that, and we could do that in 2 hours instead of 10. Wouldn't that be great? If you're an accountant and even though you've got all this software that you use, you had someone who could sit down and look at the numbers and go, yeah, this is the problem. That's the problem. We need to look for that because that doesn't fit. That doesn't fit. So please don't think that just because you're different, there's something wrong with you. There's an awful lot right with you. You may have amazing skills and abilities, and you're not given the opportunity. You're not given the chance because people go, ooh, Asperger's. Those are those really weird people who do strange things. Yeah, they come up with great ideas that could drive your business forward. Yeah, you don't want those. Oh, no. Yes, you do. Get 2 of them, get 5 of them, get 10 of them. Support them, give them the freedom to express themselves. You'd be amazed what they can come up with. Because they think differently, because they're not restricted by narrow thoughts. They're thinking all the time about, what if we did this? What if we did that like that? Just a minute, scribble something down. We need to get away from thinking Asperger's syndrome and autism is a disease that needs to be cured. No, no, and no. What it needs desperately, even now in the 3rd decade of the 21st century, is for people, society, employers, friends and family to go, yeah, it's a bit funny around people and he doesn't quite fit in necessarily. How can we support him to do his job better? How can we support him to be better in family? How can we support them to do better? How can we find out what they can do? Support them. Ask them what they need. If someone had said to me when I was a geologist, Andrew, what do you need to be able to do your job better, quicker, more efficiently? I'd have said to them, put me in a quiet office without anyone around me, please. Just leave me be. If you have to put a phone on my desk, so be it. Just give me the tools that I need and leave me alone. If I've got questions, I will come and ask. I won't sit there going, oh, I don't know. I've got to go and ask the boss. What do I do? What do I do? I will make a note of it. I will make a list of it. I will think about it for some time. Then I may be able to resolve the problem myself. But if I can't, I'll go to my list and say, I need to speak to my boss about these 3 things. You say, excuse me, boss, do you mind if we grab a cup of tea? I'd like to chat with you for half an hour about a couple of things I want to talk to you about. Boss goes, yeah, give me 10 or 15 minutes and we'll do that because I've just got something to finish. That's perfectly acceptable. Person goes away, 10 or 15 minutes later, you have a cup of tea in your manager's office, you talk about the things. That gives you progress, You have boss the confidence, you know what you're talking about, know what you're doing, you're going down the right road. And you then have the confidence, yes, I've interacted with my boss, I've got the guidance I need to go away and do the next 2 weeks worth of work and go for it. That would have been absolute brilliant for me. Would have been, yeah, what can we do to help you, Andrew? Yeah, just give me an office somewhere without people and I'll be great. I'll come and ask if I've got a problem. Here's another one. And this one you should know about. What have we just come through? We have just come through a pandemic where people have had to be isolated. People have to wear masks. People have been vaccinated. I can guarantee you that if your business went to a work from home situation and you properly supported those people at home, you were at least as productive from your teams as you were when they were in your office. And here's a little secret. I bet you some of them were way more productive at home, working from home. Just because you couldn't see them, just because you couldn't go and micromanage them, just because you couldn't interrupt them and impact with what they were doing, they were at home, cracking on with what they were doing. And they were being more efficient. I don't know what the stats are, but I can guarantee you that if you were to sit down and do the metrics on your efficiency with people working in the office and people working from home that they've gone through with this pandemic for 3 years, you'll be at least as efficient with most of your people working from home. And they'll be going, oh, don't need to come back into the office, but I'll come in Monday morning, pick up work for the week, and I'll see you next Monday. Sorted. Anything you need from us? No, I'm good. If I need anything, I'll pick up the phone or send you an email. It's great. Thanks. Because what that does for an autistic person or someone with Asperger syndrome is they are then in their home. They are in their environment. They know exactly where everything is. They know where their desk is. They know where their files are. They've got everything laid out for their optimization of what they do, whether it's 7 o'clock at night and they're doing their MRPG gaming with their friends, or whether it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and they're working on your work that you've got for them to do. They know exactly where everything is. They know they're not going to be interrupted. They can take their breaks whenever they want. They don't have to be 7 o'clock. You took an extra 2 minutes for your break today. I'm docking you. I'm writing you up. Oh, please don't do that. If your staff are efficient and doing their work, it doesn't matter how long they take for their breaks. Come on. We're in the third decade of the 21st century. Come on, people, we can do this. So that working from home situation could just be absolutely ideal for your autistic people, for your people who have Asperger syndrome. Yes, I don't have to interact with these other 30 people in the office, in the building. I don't have to sit next to an annoying person who chats all the time about what was on the telly last night and what was on the football happened last night, or what was on Strictly, or what happened with Desperate Housewives of wherever. They don't have all of that going on when they're at home, in their environment, doing their work. So if you can let someone work from home, do it. You'll soon find out whether they're being productive or whether they're sitting back watching the telly all day because of how much work they get done. You will know how much work gets done in a week. If they're doing it, does it matter that they sit with their feet up for an hour having lunch? No, it doesn't. Not one jot. Because at home in their own environment, they are supporting themselves in the way that works best for them. So, topic of today's talk is there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. There's nothing to fix. Absolutely fundamental that we all understand that autistic people and people with Asperger syndrome are not broken. There's no magic bullet. There's no tablet because there's nothing to fix. What we do need is understanding and acceptance and support. We need people to understand, oh, yeah, Andrew in the corner there is a bit It's a bit different, but leave him alone, get on with his work. It'd be great. Need support. What support does he need? What support does Andrew need? The support that he might need is just leave him alone. Or it might be every 2 or 3 days, he might feel the need to want to come and talk to you about something just to get the reassurance that everything's going well. So book that in. Book that in twice a week. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, cup of tea time. Do that. Some people might need more support. Find out what that is and do it. So much I want to say about my career as a geologist and how I was seen as the outcast. If there ever was a black sheep of the family in business, I was it when I was a geologist in many of the places that I worked because I didn't fit in. They knew I didn't fit in. I knew I didn't fit in, but they didn't try and help me adjust their system so that I could be productive. They said, oh, Andrew, he's a pain. He's a pest. He's a nuisance. He's challenging. He keeps asking awkward questions, and I don't like it. I just want him to do it. Remember, I don't care, just do it. The I don't care, just do it attitude doesn't work when you're managing people with Asperger syndrome. Trust me, it doesn't. It's I'm a tad busy right now, but can we do this in half an hour? And I will give you my fullest attention, and we can talk about what it is you want to talk to me about. Yes, fine, thank you. But when you go up to someone and they've got their head down and they're working, which is fine, that's what we should be doing. But you know they're there, and you don't look up because you know who it is, because you've got a glimpse, it's him. And you continue with your head down for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, knowing that that person has come to you, to your desk, to say, I need to ask you a question about what I'm doing for you. I'm working for you. Me standing here waiting for you to acknowledge my existence is wasting my time working for you. I've been there. I have done it. I have stood at someone's desk and they have deliberately kept their head down and ignored me. I hate being ignored. I truly detest it because it's so blatantly rude. You could have looked up and said, just right in the middle of something, can you come back in 5 minutes? Perfectly fine, perfectly acceptable. Unless he was coming to tell you that the building was on fire, in which case the fire alarm should be going on. But you know what I'm saying. So how do you support the people? All of your people, doesn't matter whether they're autistic or not. How do you support everyone in your team to get the best from them? Because that's your job. If you're a leader, you're a manager, you're an employer, your job is to pick the right people who have the skill sets that you need, pick the right people to lead them, and set them off and support them. If you do those three things, there's a pretty good chance you're going to have a successful business. But how we support people is so important. And how you support an autistic person or someone with Asperger's might be different from how you support someone else. Well, it is no different. It is no different than you employing an Asian person, someone from Eastern Europe, someone from South America, someone from Africa. Their CV is brilliant. They come across great at the interview. Let's just take one example. Let's just say that their English isn't 100%, but they're the best candidate you've seen. Knock spots off all the other candidates, but their English isn't quite right. What would you do? What I would do as an employer, as a manager, would go, okay, we want to take you on. We understand that you've got some English issues. We will put you on a course. We will give you support so that any communication that you send out of the office goes to someone else first. So if you've got an email, type it as a Word document, send it to this person. They will review it. They will vet it. They will correct grammars and typos and inconsistencies. And then when that's done, they will send it back to you. You then copy and paste that into the email. That's what you do to support someone whose English isn't quite there yet. You put them on a course, 12-week course, a 3-month course, an evening course, and you pay for that. You support because that person has got the skill sets that you need. Very quickly, they will pick up. They will go, this employer must think well of me because they're paying for me to go on a course to better myself for their benefit. This employer must think well of me because they're giving me someone who I can check my written communications with before they get sent out of the department, out of the building, to a client, to a third party, to a stakeholder. This employer is supporting me to help me do that job. I am going to give my best to this company. Please say you would do that in those circumstances when that person is the number one person that you've interviewed. You just need to, just as just as someone came to you and they've got 90% or 75% of the skills that you need, and they are great. They come across brilliantly, very communicative, they come across well at interview, but they don't have all of the boxes ticked in the skill sets that you're looking for. But they're the best candidate. They come across well, they're communicative, all the things that you want from an interview. But there's one bit missing. You put them on a course for that, or you support them. You get them someone to mentor them when they're doing that particular aspect of work. You give them a mentor, a senior person who knows how to do that. And they will rapidly pick it up. That's supporting whomever it is you have, whether it's because they have foreign language, whether they're autistic, whether they're dyspraxic or dyscalculant or dyslexic. Find what it is to support you. I have a friend who is dyslexic. And one of the things he told me was quite amazing, is that for certain people who are dyslexic, color of what they're looking at is so important to looking at words, reading printed pages. And they found out that his color was purple. What they did was they got a clear sheet of plastics that was the color purple, so that when he's reading something or he's writing, he puts, certainly when he's reading, he puts the purple clear sheet over what he's reading, and that stops the words jumbling around all over the page. It fixes them in a way that he can then read it and read it clearly, concisely, just as anyone else who didn't have dyslexia can read it. What a brilliant thing. How good is that? That you can help someone with dyslexia with a piece of plastic that probably cost you £1, £2 at the most. You would buy a dozen of those and you keep them in the cupboard and say, if you need one, there it is, take one. And there might be other people who are dyslexic whose colour is yellow or is green or is orange or is blue. You would get a selection because you're supporting the person to be able to do their job effectively and efficiently and productively. These are things that we can do. These are simple things that you can do to get the best out of all your employees. It's nearly time to wrap up, but I want to share two things with you, which I have said before. But it's important that we understand this thing. The first thing is, and I said it earlier on, we are in the third decade of the 21st century. I want you to think about what that means for a moment. We are in the third decade of the 21st century. In the 1960s, when writers were writing science fiction, they had moon bases. They had bases on the moon. They had bases in Mars. They had bases in all sorts of places. So in the 1960s, our imagination was brilliant. Our imagination is still the same. What is someone in your business going to come up with now? So let's do better than we did back in those days. And on that very same topic, people look back and go, oh, the 80s or the 90s, as though it was 5 years ago. Well, the 1980s started just over 42 years ago. Just over 42 years ago. The 90s started just over 32 years ago. So if you're thinking that you're using practices that were working in the 80s and 90s, maybe they do work. Maybe they don't. Maybe they need upgrading. Maybe they need updating. Maybe you need to think about how you're going to support this myriad of people who are going to be in your business, who have different skill sets but need support in a different way so that they can be productive. Because it might just be that an autistic person or someone with Asperger's could provide the key, that new thing, that iPhone thing that could make your business be the market leader in 3 years' time and still be the market leader in 10 years' time. What would that do for your business value, your company value? People would want to come and work for you. Clients would be flocking to have your services, buy your products. And it could just be that an autistic person or someone with Asperger's syndrome could be that catalyst that projects your business forward. All you have to do is support them in the right environment. That's all you have to do. Support them in the right environment. If you can't do that in the third decade of the 21st century, I think you perhaps need to have a look at yourself as a business and say, ooh, are we doing this right? Should we be doing this right? Do we need to get someone in to help us out? Because maybe we have dropped the ball a little bit. We're not looking as far forward as we should be. How many autistic people do you employ? You might employ quite a few, but you might not know they're autistic. They might not know they're autistic. But how many people in your business have Asperger's syndrome that you know about? And if so, are you supporting them in the right environment? Because according to that article I read, they could be up to 140% more efficient than their neurotypical colleagues. Wouldn't that be good? If you had an army of super efficient employees doing great work, being more productive, producing more of the product that you're making, or coming up with innovation that could drive your business forward for the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Back to the beginning of today's webinar. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. There's nothing to fix. Really important. As a society, we understand that autistic people, people with Asperger's syndrome, are not broken. There's nothing to fix. What we need is understanding and support. If we do that, we'll all be flying. If you are a business and you want to know more about managing Asperger's syndrome in the workplace, please feel free to get in touch. You can get to me on my website, which is right over my shoulder there, aspergersmatters.com. There's a contact form there, or you can email me at andrew@aspergersmatters.com. I have a 7-step program that I go through with employers on ways to manage people with Asperger's syndrome in the workplace. And unsurprisingly, they work for most other people as well, because they're good techniques that use and help someone in the workplace, helps the employer support the people in the workplace so that they can get the best out of it. That's your objective. If you're supporting people in the right environment, they're more likely to want to come to work on that horrible gale force February morning when it's icy and it's snowy and it's haily and it's rather than just turn over in bed and pick up the phone and go, they've got a flu. If you support your people in the right environment and reward them, you've got to share your rewards. You will have people who will stay longer, be more productive, be better. They will push people up. They will the good ones will rise up. They will become the supervisors. They will become the next managers, which pushes those managers up. You stack them in at the bottom, they will push up and the cream will rise. And the good managers will stay. Well, actually, the good managers, if you don't support them properly, they will leave. The good employees, if you don't support them properly, they will leave. So think very carefully about who you have in your business. Oh, they've been there 10 years. Yeah, they might have been there 10 years. Yours could be the only job they could ever possibly get. But you still have to support them. You still have to look after them. You still have to try and help them do better. But the good ones, if you don't support them, you don't reward them, they'll be gone. Trust me, I've seen it. I've worked in places where over the course of about 18 months, 9 or 10 people left. Some of those were good. Some of those were very good. They left because there was nothing for them to stay. There was no reason for them to stay. So support your people in the right environment, and you will just get the best out of them. Always under the understanding that there's nothing to fix because they're not broken. They're different. They're wired differently. They see the world differently. They interact with the world differently. They might be able to come up with something new, amazing, fantastic, new product, new service, new way of doing something that's 20% more efficient than what you currently do. You'd like that, wouldn't you? Yeah, I believe so. So that's all we have time for today. That was me, Andrew Marsh, talking Asperger's. And I love talking about it, as you might have gathered, because I want to help you as a business employ someone like me and support me in the way that made me more effective, more efficient, more valued. You do that, you have a win-win. Employee feels happy, business is successful. That's it. If you want to get in touch, please do so. Look out for Friday afternoon or Saturday when I'll be posting what next week's topic is about. But my name is Andrew Marsh. Thank you for your time. And as I said, if you want to get in touch, then please do. That's Andrew at aspergersmatters.com or the website aspergersmatters.com. Take care.